Hello, my name is Orla. Welcome back to my channel. In this channel I read stories for children and adults who are interested. In this video I'll be reading another cool story from Fantasy Stories for Boys and Girls. So get cozy, cuddle down, and we will begin. In this video I'll be reading the story called The Sprites and a Dragon. This is a dragon, and these little green guys are sprites. They usually live in forests. Once upon a time, a grim old dragon lived in a cave high in the mountains. This dragon was almost as ancient as the mountains themselves. Once his scales had been deep bronze, but now they were greenish and faded. He was lean and scaly, and his eyes glowed red like coals on a fire. Every animal for miles around was scared of this dragon. The dragon had a pile of treasure that he loved to sit on top of. It filled up his huge echoing cave and was full of helmets and weapons from defeated knights, shimmering jewels and thousands of gold coins. One gloomy day, the dragon was counting his jewels when he heard a high chattering sound. Something small, green and giggling came into his cave. It was a skinny wood sprite from the forest. "Let's live here now," piped the sprite, and suddenly a whole crowd of sprites came pouring into the dragon's cave. Nothing the dragon could do would get rid of the dancing, chattering sprites. And being shadowy little things, they couldn't be swiped with his claws or burned with his fiery breath. Every day more and more sprites appeared until the dragon couldn't sleep at all. "Why are you here?" he asked the sprites. They told him that they had been chased out of their forest home by wolves. "We will live here now," they squeaked, which made the dragon snort flames in anger. They were very annoying. And that's in there, and that's all the little green guys moving in to his cave. And he isn't very happy. The next day, the dragon could take no more. He flew down from the mountains like a storm cloud all the way to the forest. He searched for the wolves, but he was too big and they were too quick and clever for him. All he could see was their yellow eyes staring at him from between the trees. In a clearing, the dragon saw a woodcutter. The woodcutter was terrified and tried to run, but the dragon landed in front of him. "Tell me, woodcutter," roared the dragon, "why do the wolves chase things out of this forest?" "Because they want it all to themselves," replied the woodcutter. "We used to hire men to drive them away, but robbers took all our gold and nobody will help us now." The dragon snorted and flew away, leaving the poor woodcutter trembling. And that's him there. Dragon and the woodcutter. On the edge of the forest, the dragon found a family crowded into a tiny cottage. The mother and father shrank back in fear when the dragon poked his long head through their door, but the children laughed and reached out to touch his snout. Ooh, scary stuff. There's the farmer and the wife, and they're afraid of him, but the children aren't. We have no fence, so the wolves came and stole our sheep, said the father. They've eaten all the sheep and we're afraid we will be next. The dragon snorted a second time and flew away. On a high hill, the dragon saw a man dressed in battered old armour. This man didn't run away when the dragon landed. I'm a knight, said the man bravely. If my armour was new, I would try to slay you and the wolves. But my armour is rusted and useless. The dragon snorted again and flapped slowly back to the mountains. If I get rid of the wolves in the forest, will you leave? Said the dragon to the sprites. The sprites said they would. The next day, the dragon flew back down to the forest and dropped something at the woodcutter's feet. It was a huge red ruby from the pile of treasure. Sell this to find men to drive the wolves away, said the dragon. Nice. That's how come with the ruby, the woodcutter. Then the dragon spent an hour slashing at some tall trees with his claws until he had a huge pile of wood which he brought to the farmer and his family. Use this wood to build a strong fence to keep the wolves out, said the strong dragon. Lastly, he flew back to his cave and picked up the toughest, shiniest armour, sword and helmet he could find. He brought it to the knight. Wear this, but don't fight me, said the dragon. Use it to drive the wolves away. I will if you will help me, said the knight. So the dragon darted into the deep forest and chased the wolves out. So the knight darted into the deep forest and chased the wolves out, and the dragon blew flames at them until the wolves scampered away in fright. There, look, they're fighting the wolves together, fire and sword. Later the dragon visited the shepherd and his family. They had built a strong fence in case the wolves returned. Now we're safe, said the farmer, but we have no sheep. I don't know how we'll survive. So the dragon picked up wild sheep from the mountains in his great claws and dropped them into the farmer's field. The shepherd and his wife thanked him, but the dragon was already flying back to his cave. The wolves are gone, said the dragon to the sprites in the cave. Now leave. The sprites cartwheeled down the mountain and into the forest, and the dragon sat down to guard his treasure in silence. But something wasn't right. It was too quiet. Try as he might, the dragon couldn't get comfortable. What was the point of all this treasure, he thought, if it didn't do anyone any good? So the dragon flew back to the forest and was glad to see the woodcutter, the farm family, the sprites, and even the knight cheered when they saw him again. You all need protecting more than my treasure does, rumbled the dragon. And perhaps I was a little lonely in my old cave. So the dragon stayed in the forest. He carried his treasure down from the mountain and buried it deep under an oak tree. But when the people of the forest were in need, they sometimes found a great ruby on their doorstep, or an ancient gold coin lying in their fields, as if it had been dropped there by the dragon. They say that the dragon still guards the forest, So if you ever go into a forest and hear a sound like a fiery snort or see the glint of bronze, don't worry. It's just a dragon protecting you from the wolves. The end. And look at them all living happy ever after with the old dragon and sprites and sprites and more sprites. They're everywhere. There we go. Another great story. And fantasy stories for boys. Until the next one. Bye bye.